This week on the Chuck Taylor Show, it's all about the U. Should the Miami Hurricanes now be the top-ranked team in the country? This past weekend, I was fortunate enough to be in attendance at Hard Rock Stadium for the primetime showdown of in-state rivals, Florida and Miami. Miami was, of course, riding high off two early season quality wins against Notre Dame and USF. ESPN had College Game Day on campus, and the fans were electric for their chance to shine on the national stage. First of all, let me tell you, Miami fans are feeling themselves right now. The swagger of the U is back. They showed out for College Game Day, completely packing their beautiful campus and beginning the opening seconds with a loud and proud, vulgar-filled chant directed right at the Gators. It probably looked like a party on screen, and let me tell you, it felt like that in Coral Gables. They started lining up in the wee hours of the morning, and they were juiced and ready to go. Miami fans are starved for a winner. They haven't finished with fewer than 3 losses since joining the ACC in 2004. They haven't won a conference championship since 2003 or a national championship since 2001. They have never been to the college football playoff. Last year, they got a taste, reaching as high as number 4 in the AP and college football playoff polls, before ultimately losing to Georgia Tech and in their season finale at Syracuse, losing their spot in the ACC championship and the college football playoff with it. Their fans have clearly turned the page from that disappointing loss last year and firmly believe that this is the year that they finally get over the hump. And they have good reason to feel that way, as evident by their play on Saturday night. All of that energy, excitement, and anticipation for this team directly translated right into Hard Rock. The packed stadium was rocking. There was an electricity in the air, and the team came out flying around and playing like it right from the start. Miami slapped the Gators around early, manhandling them on defense and forcing them to go 3 and out on their first drive. They then got the ball themselves and marched it straight down the field for a score. Miami just clearly looked like they wanted it more. They kept Jaden Baugh and the running game in check, while DJ Lagway was scrambling for his life all night long. Miami held the Gators to 141 yards of total offense. They had 4 sacks. The Gators went 0 for 13 on 3rd down and had to punt the ball 7 times. Miami gave up just 7 points to a putrid Florida offense while racking up some late points to a route that was never in question. The Hurricane offensive line was just as impressive, opening up a ton of holes. For Mark Fletcher to run for 114 yards and a touchdown, while Chamar Brown added 80 yards and 2 scores himself. Carson Beck didn't play all that well, throwing an early second half interception, but Miami proved they have a strong, deep, hungry team that can win in a multitude of ways. The win moves Miami to 4-0 on the season. They already have the 2 ranked wins in their pocket, and this was another impressive performance in prime time in front of a national stage. I know their opponents are currently 6-9, but 4 of those losses are to Miami themselves. Notre Dame's schedule is very favorable the rest of the way, and they may very well run out and still make the college football playoff. South Florida could play themselves back into the rankings, and they could be a contender for the Group of 5 playoff spot as well. That leads to today's burning question. Should Miami be the number 1 ranked team in the country? Do they have the best case for the top spot? I had them at number 1 in our top 5 last week, coming off the win against South Florida, and I caught a little bit of heat in the comments. But I still feel like through 4 games, they have the strongest resume, and they have looked the most dominant thus far against pretty good competition. Oregon's got more lopsided, dominant victories, but their competition at this point has been inferior. Ohio State has the win over Texas. Texas hasn't looked that good so far. Georgia had a tremendous win over Tennessee in overtime, and they have a chance to strengthen their case this weekend against Alabama. I just think at this point, the Hurricanes have done just enough to give themselves the edge for the top overall spot. And it looks like AP voters are starting to agree with me as well. They jumped the Hurricanes up to the number 2 spot in the AP poll this week. That's a clear indication they're starting to create some believers. It's easy to see why. Miami's averaging 450 yards of offense. They're putting up 34 points a game and getting 180 yards a game through their tough as nails running game. Their defense is only giving up 244 yards a game. Ruben Bain and this defense get after the quarterback. and they're only giving up 11.5 points per game. Their strong recruiting and transfer portal classes under head coach Cristobal the past few seasons are starting to translate on the field. This team is littered with athletes, and they've come out on a mission to win. They've looked like the Hurricanes of yesteryear, while leaving little doubt as to which squad has been the better team each and every Saturday so far. On the flip side, they have been able to play all 4 of their games so far at home. One of those games included Bethune-Cookman, which is an FCS squad. How strong has their schedule been? Notre Dame's 1-2, and the Gators have started out to a disastrous 1-3 start themselves. A lot of USF's resume is built on that win over the Gators. They're about to get into the meat of their ACC schedule, but we really don't know the strength of the ACC as a whole. The ACC is just 5-12 out of conference against the Power 4. A lot of the strength of their resume is going to come down to the Syracuse game and, of course, the game against Florida State in 2 weeks. Other than that, I'm not sure how much more they're going to really be able to strengthen this resume. It really may very well be dependent on how Notre Dame goes on with its season and if USF is a legitimate playoff contender. They may not finish the regular season ranked number 1, but I think they deserve to be there right now. I came away really impressed with what I saw on Saturday night. This is a big, tough, physical football team with speed and athleticism all over the field. They have that swagger. They're playing with that bravado and that confidence right now that reminds you of early 2000s Miami. I want to know, if you had to rank the top 10 right now, where are you putting the Hurricanes? They done enough to crack your top 5? Would you be able to put them at the very top spot? I want you to let me know in the comments. And I guess that's the perfect segue to take us right into this week's top 5. Holding on to our number 5 spot this week is the Texas A&M Aggies. Texas A&M was idle this week, but we're still impressed from that come-from-behind win at South Bend 2 weeks ago. Still one of the best road wins of the young season, and the Aggies will get a chance to prove themselves even further this week when they travel to the Plains to face a gritty and tough Auburn squad. Number 4 is the Oklahoma Sooners. The Sooners notched their second big-time win of the season this past weekend when they took down the Auburn Tigers at home. Oklahoma has previously already defeated the Michigan Wolverines, and that gives them 2 really strong early season wins, and it allows them to crack our top 5 for the first time this week. At number 3 again this week is the Georgia Bulldogs. Georgia was idle this week as they get ready for their massive showdown this weekend against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama's bounced back nicely from their season opening loss, and this is a chance for Georgia to get another statement win and possibly move up the rankings even further. At number 2 is the Ohio State Buckeyes. The Buckeyes were idle this week as they prepare to head out west, face a pretty average Washington Huskies team. In fact, the Buckeyes' entire resume thus far is built around the season opening win against then number 1 Texas. And we probably won't find out much more about this team until they get into the meaty part of their schedule. We know they're talented. We know they're a playoff and national title contender, and that's why we have them at number 2. At number 1 again this week is the Miami Hurricanes. Hurricanes just notched their second primetime victory against a big-time national brand. Fighting Irish and the Gators may be a combined 2-5 thus far this season, but those are still victories that resonate with voters. Add in defeating South Florida handily, and the Hurricanes have built themselves a nice little resume so far. They've played all 4 games at home, and it'll be interesting to see how they deal with road games such as the one at Florida State in 2 weeks. But for now, the Hurricanes have earned the top spot in the ranking. That's going to do it for today's show, guys. What's your top 5 look like? Who do you got in the top spot? And who do you think has looked most impressive thus far this season? Let me know in the comments, and as always, subscribe to the channel as we're continuing to grow our reach and can only do so with the support of each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for the outpouring of support we've received thus far, and I hope you'll continue to take this ride with us. We'll see you on the next one.